I'm proud to be in the Army Reserves. It's an experience that has enhanced my life. But serving your country sometimes means leaving the life you know for years at a time. Coming home can be another story. It can be good or it can be bad. I want to tell you some of those stories. Watch Heroes Come Home Sundays on Fox 6 News at 9. It's Thursday morning at Countrydale Elementary in Franklin.
Check in as quickly as possible.
In Miss Davis's class, Hannah Blair and her peers are getting ready for a guest presenter.
Like nothing was going to happen. It was just a normal, boring day.
A really cool guest presenter. How many of you truly understand the difference between fact and opinion? Little do they know, it's all a setup.
This is a huge surprise.
Hannah's mom, also known as Lieutenant Colonel Linda Blair of the Air Force Reserve, is making her way to her daughter's classroom. She's been overseas for the past 6 months.
I think she's gonna jump up and scream and, "Mama!" I hope.
Hannah has no idea she's home, much less on the other side of her classroom door.
I didn't even get a chance to scan the room before she jumped up and she was hugging me. It was awesome.
I was like screaming in my head. I was really happy.
Before I left, I told Chuck that I wanted to do this. I wanted to surprise her, sneak up on her in school.
From this reporter's perspective, mission accomplished. This mom in the military had said goodbye to her civilian life last July. She and her husband tried their best to prepare their 9-year-old daughter for the difficulties of separation. But you can only do so much.
I don't know if you can hug enough or kiss enough or go to dinner enough or do anything enough to compensate for what the ultimate duration of time apart is.
Especially when so many holidays are there to remind you a loved one is missing.
I missed her birthday, I missed my husband's birthday, I missed my birthday, I missed Thanksgiving, I missed Christmas, I missed New Year's. Right. All the big ones.
We just really missed her.
As a member of the 434th LRS, this Lieutenant Colonel spent her tour of duty at Central Command in Kuwait. She was among a multi-branch command group coordinating all things transportation for the entire Middle East region.
Mentally, I just kind of flip a switch and just go into exist mode. You know, get up in the morning, go to work, get off work, go work out, stop in the chow hall somewhere along the way, and just kind of get into a pattern and a routine.
However, even that routine would be thrown off. As the second in command of logistics, Linda had one task no one looked forward to.
The hardest part was that we took care of the airlift for all the fallen heroes.
Did it ever feel like they kept coming?
Yes, it never got easier. It was always a somber event.
Did you ever think of your family when you saw those soldiers?
Absolutely. Every single time I'd see the requests for air movement come across, it'd be like, that poor family.
Despite the difficulties, the challenges on both sides of the world, this military family understands how important it is to serve. When asked what would they change about the past 6 months, their answer is simple. Nothing.
This is what military people do. It's what we do. And sometimes you got to go do these things, and it's just how it is.
6 months, yeah, I missed a lot, and it was worth it, just because, you know, somehow, somewhere, I made a difference.
How excited are you that she's home now and you can make these memories?
From the top of the floor up to space.
Up to space?
It's never ending.
I'm told one of the first memories they're going to recapture is Christmas morning. Hannah made sure their Christmas tree stayed up, gifts underneath for her mother. Linda is only 2 years away from having served 20 years, the minimum needed to retire, but she tells me retirement isn't in the plans just yet. For Heroes Come Home and Fox 6 News, I'm Chip Brewster. To the average passerby, this may look like just another coffee shop on Milwaukee's Brady Street, but it's so much more. Dryhucha's mission is to help veterans regain their lives.
I'm diagnosed with PTSD, and it took me about 2 years to even ask for help.
Tom Voss joined the Army right out of high school. Less than a year later, he was deployed as an infantryman.
Our chow hall was blown up by a suicide bomber. My platoon sergeant and squad leader were both killed in action while I was over there. And yeah, so it was a pretty rough experience for me.
Many of today's veterans have a story similar to Tom's. They became adults while serving their country, then left the military not knowing what to do next.
My past 3 years of my life, I had you know, decisions made for me. I was told you know, when to be places, at what time, what to eat, when to get up. and you're kind of just cut loose, and then you're sitting on your mom's couch and you don't know what's next.
Tom ended up working at Dry Hooch as a part-time barista. When he started, it was just a job to get him through college. Then he began to open up about his deployment to Dry Hooch founder Bob Curry.
You have people who are told to be tough and do whatever it needs to be done, and now they come back and somebody says, well, maybe you have a mental problem, and that's the last thing you want to hear.
Bob has devoted the last 4 years to helping veterans transition into civilian life. His coffee house acts as a starting place for veterans looking for help. As a Vietnam veteran himself, it's a kind of support Bob did not get when he returned home from war.
The protesters attacked us in Seattle. We went back to get on the airlines, and they threw, the eggs and the bloody chicken guts, and it was just shocking. I mean, we had no idea. It was like, what in the hell is going on? And went to the airport, and I went into the men's room, took my uniform off, stuffed it in the garbage can, put on civilian clothes, and said to myself, this never happened.
After putting the military behind him, Bob became an alcoholic. In 2002, everything fell apart. He ended up going to the VA for addiction treatment.
During that time, it was a bunch of vets who came to my side and helped me, people I had never known before, other Vietnam vets.
As he watched the war in Iraq play out, Bob believed he was witnessing a whole new generation of veterans who would face the same issues he had. World War II vets built bars to gather in and swap stories. Bob knew he had to do something different.
Now we know that booze and PTSD is dynamite. So the idea is the social space of this generation is coffee houses. So here's an idea where I can come in and not feel threatened, and not come in and ask for help, just check it out and make sure it's okay.
In the time it takes to make a mocha, a soldier, Marine, airman, or sailor can make a personal connection that could turn their life around.
How difficult was it to transition from military life to civilian life?
It was very hard. It took me 8 years.
Heather Antonevich experienced war in both Iraq and Afghanistan. She's another vet helped by Dry Hooch.
Just seeing that other people are going through the same thing I was. I felt, before I found Dry Hooch, I felt like I was the only one.
Coming to the coffee house, taking that first step, is often the hardest one to make. For many veterans, the stigma that something is wrong with them gets in the way.
PTSD is normal. It's a normal response to an abnormal situation.
Bob and his battalion of volunteer vets offer one-on-one mentorships, support groups, and the guidance necessary to deal with government benefits. All of it over a cup of jet fuel.
It's important for other veterans to support other veterans because we did it in the military. We had each other's back in the military. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing it after we separate.
It's open to the community. There's no, secret meetings going on here, so come in and have a cup of coffee and talk to a vet and see what they're doing.
If you know a veteran that might be interested in hooking up with Dry Hooch, it's as easy as walking in and buying a cup of coffee. If they're not in the Milwaukee area, there are Dry Hooch chapters growing all over the country, including another coffee shop in Madison. Simply go to fox6now.com and we'll show you where to get the info. For Heroes Come Home and Fox 6 News, I'm Chip Brewster.
All right. It was no ordinary item on the docket in court Wednesday.
The experiences they gained from the military are overwhelmingly positive.
As Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm talked about what kind of influence military service can have on a person.
When they leave the military, can often take unexpected negative turns.
He said you have to recognize the trauma some veterans face when they come back from war and adjust to life back home.
It's the right thing to do, it's the safe thing to do, and it's the most effective thing to do.
Veterans who are charged with a non-violent crime could avoid a conviction if they successfully complete the program that includes counseling with mentors from the county and the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Coming home is when my addiction really started to take off.
For Nathan Handel and Joshua Dieter, they found themselves on the wrong side of the law after developing addictions to pain medications.
But this to me was the best thing that could have happened to me in my life.
Two former military personnel say a similar program saved their life.
I want to give back and help others that are suffering from addiction.
And some are on a quest to help others who struggled with life after service. Brett Bagansky, Fox 6 News.